If you're an Amazon seller, you know that little knot of fear in your stomach. What happens if one day Amazon just flips a switch and your income just vanishes? Well, today we're talking about the #1 way to not just grow your business, but to actually protect it for the long haul. And look, if you've been in the Amazon space for any amount of time, you know this isn't some made-up nightmare scenario. This is a real, constant threat. Some bot flags your account, your listing gets yanked down, they hold your money, and boom, suddenly you're in a world of hurt. We just can't afford to be that vulnerable. So here's our game plan. We're going to start by really digging into that single channel risk. Then we'll dive into a 3-part playbook for expansion. And finally, we'll talk about the most important part, exactly when you should make your move. All right, so first up, why do we even put ourselves in this position? I mean, if Amazon can basically hold our business hostage, why do we sell there at all? Well, the answer really comes down to one absolutely massive number: 180 million customers in the US alone. I mean, that's why we don't have to burn a fortune driving traffic to some brand new website nobody's ever heard of. We get to leverage Amazon's massive system to get ranked, get sales, and most importantly, generate that initial cash flow that gets our brand off the ground. It's the perfect launchpad. But here is the critical point, the one thing you have to remember. Once that mission is accomplished, once you've proven your product and that cash is flowing in, you have to ask yourself, okay, what's next? And the answer is diversification. It's time to protect what you've built and unlock some serious new growth. You know, navigating that what's next phase, that's the tricky part. And honestly, you're going to want a shortcut. And that's where a resource like AdamAiXpert.com comes in. And just so you have it, that's AIXPERT.com. It was built by a seller named Adam Grabar specifically to give you an edge in implementing the kinds of strategies we're about to get into. Okay, let's get right into the playbook. Part 1, the first and by far the most straightforward strategy, is expanding to platforms that feel really similar to Amazon. We'll just call them the Amazon-alikes. And the biggest one, its recent growth might actually shock you. So, let's hop in the time machine for a sec and go back to 2019. The picture was pretty clear. Amazon was just crushing Walmart online. I mean, it wasn't even close. Looking at this, you'd think, why would I ever bother with Walmart? But fast forward to today, whoa, the story has completely flipped. Walmart is growing at a 20% run rate. To put that into perspective, their revenue today is almost what Amazon's was back in 2019. Getting on Walmart.com right now is literally like getting that time machine to sell on Amazon 5 years ago. It's a huge growth wave, and you can ride it. And beyond Walmart, you've got a couple other Amazon-alike channels. As you can see here, Walmart is your easiest entry point, no question. Amazon Canada can be a little goldmine, especially for niche products. And then there's Amazon Europe. It offers enormous scale, but the difficulty level is higher because you're dealing with complexities like value-added tax or VAT. All right, so the platforms we just covered are all search-based, just like Amazon. The skills you already have transfer over pretty well. But the next level of diversification, well, this requires a totally new playbook. We're shifting from search engines to content engines. Okay, it is absolutely crucial to understand this difference. On Amazon, a customer already knows they want a milk frother. They type it in the search bar, and you compete on your rankings and your PPC ads. It's a pretty black and white system. But on a platform like TikTok Shop, nobody is searching for your product. They discover it through content that's fun, entertaining, and maybe goes viral. It is a completely different, much more creative game. So why should you even bother learning this new game? Well, how about this for a reason? $30 billion. That's the projected revenue for TikTok Shop in 2025. You know, in just a few years, it's on track to be a quarter of the size of Walmart.com. That kind of growth is just staggering. And what makes TikTok so incredibly powerful is this thing called the flywheel effect. You start by making your own content and getting some sales. Then TikTok affiliates see your sales data, they realize your product is a winner, and they start making content for you to earn a commission. This creates this incredible self-perpetuating cycle where more sales leads to more content, which, you guessed it, leads to even more sales. Learning to create content can feel like taking on a second job, right? To get up to speed fast, you need a secret weapon, something like AdamAiXpert.com. Again, that's AIXPERT.com. Adam's live AI night class every single Wednesday is specifically designed to give you real-time guidance to master these new platforms like TikTok Shop. So we've gone from easy diversification to learning totally new skills. But the final step, the true end goal,
It's about more than just adding sales channels. It's about building an indestructible fortress for your brand.
So what does that even mean? It means becoming a real brand. And a real brand isn't just a product someone sells on somebody else's platform. No, it's a business that owns its customer relationships. You have an email list. You have a social media community. You're driving repeat purchases on your own site, like a Shopify store. You own the entire relationship from start to finish. Now let's be totally honest. This is, without a doubt, the hardest path. It takes the most time and the most resources to build a community, an email list, and brand awareness from absolute scratch. But this should be your ultimate goal. This is what true long-term independence really looks like. Okay, so we've covered the why, we've covered the how. We've laid out the entire playbook from the simple expansion all the way to building a fortress. Now for the most important question of all. When do you actually start doing this? Here's your trigger. This is the magic number. Once your Amazon business is consistently generating between $10,000 and $30,000 a month in revenue, that's your signal. At this point, your core products are probably stable, the cash flow is reliable, and you can actually afford to place a bigger inventory order to send a few hundred units to Walmart or to Amazon Canada. This is the sweet spot to begin your diversification journey. So let's wrap this all up. The key takeaway, the one thing you need to remember, is that diversifying, it's not an option. It is an absolute necessity. It protects you from the whims of a single platform, and it unlocks these incredible growth opportunities that feel like the early days of Amazon all over again. Your long-term sustainability really depends on you taking this seriously. And if you want that competitive edge, here are 2 really clear next steps you can take. First, join the live AI Night class to master these new strategies. And second, request a free ASIN review to optimize what you're already doing on Amazon. To get started with either of those, just send an email to adam@AIXpert@gmail.com. This isn't just another tool. It really is your advantage. So now you have the full roadmap, from the easiest first step all the way to the ultimate brand goal. The only question left is, which path are you going to take first?